Hello and welcome to another episode of Casual Conversations of the Kiss Kind. As you know, I'm your host, Kyle Comsack, and we are giving you audio and video for the first time. So if you're listening to us on SoundCloud, you can now also listen to us on YouTube. We're also on Google Play and iTunes. So as being your host, I always like to let you know that I do drive for Lyft. Use my code Kyle51146, make a little extra money. And also need to let you know about our team that we work with. Of course, French Kiss Chicago Magazine. And we have our CEO right here. It's the second mic, Kiki.
Hi. As you know, I'm Kiki Woodman. I'm the CEO of French Kiss Chicago Magazine. And we're here to bring you all the trends, all the hot topics, and about culture, arts, politics, everything. So nothing is off limits and everything's on the table. So I'm going to pass this over to our lovely third mic.
Lovely.
Yes.
Hi, this is Ellis D. You can reach me on Facebook at Daryl Ladante Ellis. That's Facebook, Daryl, D-A-R-R-Y-L, Ladante, L-A-D-O-N-T-E, Ellis, E-L-L-I-S. Just a commentator for Kiss. I live for this magazine. Me and Kenya have known each other for a while, and she decided to get into the business, so I wanted to help her out as much as I could. So we're here today on this hot Chicago summer. And we have a guest with us today.
It's beautiful.
Tell us about the guest.
Yes. Tell us about yourself.
I am Tyomi Morgan Najib, also known as Glamazon Tyomi on social media. I am a sexpert and pleasure coach and soon to be certified tantric practitioner. And I have been working in sexuality for 7 years. I have a YouTube channel where I show people how to get into different positions and just give them basic sex advice. And I am the resident sexpert and writer for CashiousLife.com and the resident sexpert and seminar coordinator for the Exotica Expo. And it's the largest event dedicated to love and sex in the US. So that's just a little bit about me. There's a lot to know. You can just put my name into Google if you want to find out more about me, Tyomi Morgan. Or follow me on Twitter at Glamazon Tyomi and youtube.com/Glamorerotica101.
Awesome.
And I also have to say, Kiki and I covered Exotica.
Yes, I was just going to say that it was great. We loved
First
it.
event we went to for Exotica. We'll definitely be at more Exotica Chicagos.
Yes.
Also, follow French Kiss Chicago Magazine on Facebook and Instagram. Also,
Yes, at
Marvel
French
the
Kiss Chicago.
Entertainer, Marvel Chi-Town Life for my social medias, both Facebook and Instagram and Twitter.
And we attended Tyomi's wonderful seminar, and she had a lot of great advice on just sex, positions, and just connecting with your partner. And so we want to ask a little bit about how did you get into sexuality, and like how did you kind of like find that as something that you wanted to teach others about?
So it's interesting because my dad actually inspired me to start writing. So before I was working in sexuality, my whole life was music. We're in this music studio, so it's it's nostalgic for me. But music, entertainment, and modeling. So my career kind of took a shift. I actually got cast on America's Next Top Model Cycle 14. And so when I did that and I didn't make it all the way, into the house, it kind of shifted my mindset a little bit. I was like, man. And my dad kind of pulled me to the side and he was just like, I'm happy for you. Your career's going well in modeling, but you're such a talented writer and you should be using your writing. I don't care what you write about. Just use your writing and it'll give you everything you ever wanted. And I'm like, I wasn't trying to hear it at the time. I was like,
oh, you weren't ready yet. So you had to be ready.
I wasn't ready.
Were you a little down in the dumps about not making the...
I was because, I had worked really hard. In high school, that show had came out and I was like, I want to be on that show. After I leave high school, I'm going to audition. And I auditioned 6 times and I finally made it on that show. And I did everything right and there were no complaints about me. And I didn't make it on. That was my first crash course into the industry as far as entertainment and television. And I realized there's politics in that. And a part of that is they want you to be dramatic. And they kept drilling me with these questions trying to make me talk bad about other people. And I'm like, I'm not here for that. I'm here for the competition. I'm here for the money. I'm here for the contract. I'm here to kill all you hoes in the competition. But whatever you do in the house, whatever you say, it's not none of my business. Because being from Chicago, it's we don't mess around. So if
stay in our lane.
Exactly. And if you do come for us with anything that's outside of what we are there for, we will shut you down. So I'm like, I'm not there to like beef with people. But you know, it was a lesson learned, and I was happy that I at least accomplished that and making it that far, because the episode that I did, it got a lot of TV time and it made me popular. So that boosted my following online. So from there, after I started realizing, like, you know what, I don't feel like I'm adding anything of substance to the world just by being a model. Like, it's great to use my image and stuff and be all beautiful, but I feel like I should be doing something more. So I went back into my mind, like what my dad said, use my writing, and then at the time, blogging was like really popular. So I started going through my mind like, all right, I have to blog about something I can get up every day and talk about. What can I talk about? And at first I started a fashion blog, and it was really successful. And shout out to Tony Williams, because he actually taught me how to use WordPress, and I was syndicating my blog posts on his stuff. And then like really early on, like Kanye actually saw one of my fashion posts on his blog and put it on his blog that he had on Blogger. Like, yeah, like years ago. Like this was like 2009.
He was originally from Chicago.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was like, oh my God. But then after a while, I was like, fashion ain't saving nobody's life, you know? So I thought about it, and I was like, what can I blog about? And I said, oh, sex. I had been studying sex since like 16, just like the science part of it. And then I had already started like looking into like Kama Sutra. And friends would always come to me for advice about love and relationships. So I was like, let me do this. And so I started doing research. And I realized that in the industry, there weren't many black women. I started my blog at 22. So there weren't many black women that were like talking about sex in a way that was empowered and classy. And it wasn't just like raunchy, salacious filth, where it's like, it's all right to be a hoe. And it's like, I'm okay with people advocating for that. And I was like, there is another sector of people who just want to know like what to do. So I started my blog in 2011, September. And after that, I quit the little like menial corporate job that I had. And I was like, I'm never doing what I don't want to do anymore. I'm just going to do this.
I know that's right.
And my intentions were to reach people all over the world and help mend relationships and like bridge the gap between the sexes. So now, 7 years later, I got like 64 million views on YouTube. My work is all over the internet, and I'm reaching people in parts of the earth that I never even thought even existed.
Wow.
Honestly. So it's been great. It was a progression. It was like, what can I do next? And how can I add some substance to the world besides just like being a pretty face? But the modeling helped, because being a pretty face helped get the work out there.
Mm-hmm.
I got to ask you a question about the modeling.
Yes.
Now, it's safe to say that you're what would be called a voluptuous woman.
Yes.
So now, I watch America's Next Top Model from time to time, just because, you know, I appreciate fashion, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It doesn't have anything to do with beautiful women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're not looking at Miss
I
J.
gotta say,
Stupid.
most of the time the models, they're you know, fairly, they're twigs. Okay?
Right, thin, yep.
Yeah. So were you on like a plus size edition, or?
No, I mean, every show, Tyra always has like at least 2 plus size models. So I was one of them. One of the 2. And of course, the other one got chosen over me because I know she was dogging me out and dogging everybody else out. I'm like, girl, bye.
Like, I don't like her hair. I don't like this. I don't
Oh
like
yeah,
her feet,
yeah,
I don't
because
like
drama,
this.
that's what a reality TV show feeds off of.
Yep. And then, you know what? I forgot that was an aspect of the show, the reality part. And I mean, like, my interview with Tyra and everything was so good, and it was so good that they ran it as a commercial because it was hilarious. Like, you know, but in modeling, I've always been in the plus size category because I'm plus size, curvier, whatever.
Even though the average size woman
Is
wears
a
a
size
size
14.
8,
Right.
8 to
Yeah.
10,
14
to
and
12.
18.
Yep.
And
Oh.
looking at you, I'm sorry, but I don't
just see
you
more
as
curves
plus
than
size.
lumbar
So
strength
I was
personally.
average size woman.
That's what
I am, and I'll explain. In fashion, I'm considered to be plus size, and I'm actually on like the smaller size of plus, because what they do is they grade their patterns down from like larger size to small. So the sample sizes are about a size 12, 14. So if you are 16, 18, typically, depending on like the brand, you may or may not get like gigs, but nowadays because of Instagram and like boutiques and stuff popping up, you have women that are like
Instagram models.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you have people who like they love taking pictures, they become models, and then like other brands like will endorse them and stuff. So women who are size 22, 24 now are getting deals with different companies because there are more brands that cater to that size. But in like high fashion, it's like 12, 14 is the size for like samples and stuff, because I've done like bridal, I've done runway, I've done all of that. And if you are doing like lingerie and intimates, it's a little smaller, so more like 10, 12-ish. It just depends. So people have said that my whole career though. They're like, oh, well, you're not really plus size. I'm like, but I fit them sample sizes though. You know, I'm getting them checks though. You know,
Let me be great.
Exactly.
I know, right? And it's just funny though that we have a perception outside of the industry. There's one perception, and the inside the industry is completely different.
It's completely different.
It's completely different. Like some people have come to me and they're like, "Oh, you should be a model. You're so thin." And I'm like, "No, I'm not
thin, right?
According to fashion standards,
Right, because you got some hips.
I got hips, I got curves, I got stuff." So it's like they kind of look at how you fit the clothes or how the clothes drape on you.
Exactly. You're a hanger basically, because
Exactly.
and this is what I think a lot of the Instagram models kind of get it twisted. It's like, as a fashion model, it's not about you. It's not about you. It's about the clothes. It's about the artistic direction. It's about you serving as a muse. But a lot of the girls on Instagram not modeling anyway, so whatever. It's a fun
So this is like
Also, the reason why we decided to bring you on rather than an Instagram model is you have something called depth.
And talent.
exactly.
Well, you know, I am an educator, so I've spent a lot of my time like amassing information so that I can basically condense it down and deliver it to the public in a way that's more relatable and understandable.
So switching gears a little bit. So how do you feel that this career, educating people about sexuality and relationships, how do you feel that's been different? Like, what are the benefits you think of that versus you being in the straight modeling industry?
Oh man, the benefits are just, I am a person that has a thirst for knowledge, so forever, for the rest of my life until I choose to leave this earth, I will be learning. So the benefits of that is feeding my thirst for knowledge, and it does give me more substance. So I get to have opportunities to like speak on panels, and I'm a writer as well, so I've written for some amazing publications. I've written for blackdoctor.org, I've written for ebony.com, Ebony Magazine, and I've been quoted a bunch of places. So as a journalist and as a writer, it gives me that opportunity to reach people in a way that's more intellectual versus just being a face or a body. Because the body and the face brings them in, but then when they start reading my words, they start reading my blogs, and they start like listening to me speak, they're like, wow, she's actually intelligent. So the benefit of that is like being able to show off my intelligence, because I am an intellectual, versus just being a body and then people assuming, because people assume when you're just a model that you don't know anything, that you're just a pretty face, a sexy girl that gets what she wants because she's spreading her leg, and it's like, I get what I want because I, first of all, I manifest it, and two, I work fucking hard for it because I put the work in.
You better stay woke. You know?
I'm
You know, so
well, like with everything, there's trends.
yep.
So in the whole sexuality thing, what are the most popular or current trends that's going on that people are getting into?
Well, ever since 50 Shades of Grey, everybody's kinky and BDSM now.
Yes.
So I feel like in mainstream it's a trend, but for those who are true BDSM kink players, it's not a trend, it's a lifestyle. Also, lingerie as clothing, which I'm all for because I love lingerie, and virtual reality sex. Virtual reality and AI.
Wow.
So
Stop acting surprised. We both went to that area. I downloaded that app. I'm bringing in the Hammer of Thor right now. Yes. Virtual reality?
That's the first time I've heard of that.
I need to go back to that booth.
Virtual reality.
Well, let me
sex.
say it was amazing.
So virtual reality sex. I said, this is kind of something new to me. You know, I have virtual reality for video games. I didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
So this is literally what I'm thinking it is. It's me in a virtual world, person or persons, doing what I want to do.
You know, it's interesting because I used to do, there was this virtual reality world. I forgot the name of it, this community. But for 2 years, I did, they had like a conference in this virtual world. And they brought me in as a speaker. They made an avatar for me and everything. And I was like, this shit is dope. This was like a few years ago. And it's interesting because I felt like at that time, that's when like the VR stuff really started to like take off. But now with VR, you can use it like your phone and stuff. There are toys and accessories that are being created where you can put on your goggles or whatever, put on your phone and your goggles, and you can use these toys in conjunction with the VR, and it's like you're having sex with the person on the screen. So VR sex, like that's the new wave.
Honey, we need to look into that, okay? We got over $1,000 in sex toys. We need to
I'm
do
saying.
I'm saying.
Why did Idris Elba come in my head? This
Because you won't have me, you gonna fight.
oh boy!
Yeah, but you know the Chi-Town Twins, they got the VR novels.
Yep,
They
VR
were
novels.
also at Exotica there.
Shouts out to y'all, love y'all.
Yeah, and Naomi
Tri-City
Banks, who I
Twins.
wish was at Exotica Chicago.
I know, you know, it's so funny. Crazy story. So when I first did Exotica and I was exhibiting and teaching, everybody kept coming to my booth and they were like, hey, all friendly and stuff. I'm like, oh shit, my blog's popping. Then I found out that everybody thought I was Naomi Banks. And so, this shit's
Naomi
funny.
Banks, yeah.
Because we're both from Chicago, we both same stature, and
Right.
we look alike, right? So it was funny because on Twitter, she came to me and she thought that I was like trying to steal her identity because her name's Naomi, I'm Tyomi, and I was like, no.
She was like, I'm here to fight. You're like, whoa, no.
I was like, no, I'm a sex educator, I'm not a porn performer. And so after that, she was like, oh, well, I would love to have you on my show. And so she had me on, and ever since then, we've just been cool. She's like literally one of the first black women in porn I ever saw perform, and I fell in love with her. So it was great to like be embraced by her. And yeah, she'll be at the Miami show though. She'll be in Miami.
Oh, yeah, maybe
So
we'll fly down
speaking of black women and sexuality, why do you think there's such a taboo against black women being sex positive and loving sex? And
Generational conditioning from post-slavery trauma. That's all it is. I mean, I say it, that's all it is. Like, it's not deep, and it is deep because it's stuff that gets passed down. What's interesting though is that outside of our community, black women, we are seen as goddesses, and they view black people in general as having some type of like superior sexual performance skills or like more in tune with their sexuality. And I'm like, y'all don't even know. It's not even like that.
No.
And so in our community, you got the church. That's a main staple as well. And the church does a really good job at shaming homosexuality, sex before marriage, yada yada yada. So with the church, the black church being a central point in our community, you got that plus the post-slavery trauma, and none of that stuff has been healed. The church doesn't try to heal it. The church is just like, don't do it. You're going to, fire, brimstone, God's going to curse you, whatever.
Not saying don't do it. Don't get caught. That's what it is.
Don't get me started.
Don't get caught.
Get me started.
Everybody's doing
Hey,
it.
be safe. Be
Yes.
safe. I condone
But
that.
everybody's
Be
doing
safe.
it. Everybody's doing different things, but it's like hush hush. Don't nobody want to talk about homosexuality. No one wants to talk about safe sex. No one wants to talk
Yep.
about the kinds of sex people are having. It's just like, okay, just be quiet about it. Go to church on Sunday, act as if,
You ain't doing nothing.
yeah, holier than thou.
And Jesus know you sucking dick, so I don't understand.
Jesus
but
got
it's the
his
problem.
dick sucked.
Yeah, he sees you always. He sees
Right.
What is he, Santa?
Come on.
Kind of a pervert watching me go to the bathroom.
Right. So you say my Lord and Savior can't see behind a tree in the evening.
Right.
Quit playing.
So
You know?
it's just interesting, and that's another reason why I jumped in the industry, because I was like, we need a representation that's going to be like, it's okay. It's okay to do this. It's okay to be open. It's okay to be sexual. It's okay, whether you're partnered up or not, to express yourself. And it's interesting because like with this whole sexual liberation movement, people get it confused with promiscuity. And I'm like, just because you're sexually liberated does not mean that you're promiscuous.
Exactly.
They're not synonymous. They are not one and the same. But people believe that because what is attached to the sexual liberation movement is the slut movement, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Amber Rose, slut movement.
So, it's like,
We'll talk about that later.
yeah.
But don't talk about it. But yes.
Yeah, and so for me, I'm like, it's so beautiful that I am a black woman and I'm unapologetic about being black, curvy, thick lips, afro, you know, fro is life.
Don't touch the hair.
I'm not. I'm going around.
We don't.
Okay.
And what's beautiful is to see black people all over the world. Because I'm not just reaching black people, I'm reaching everybody. But when you see someone that looks like you, and they're speaking openly and they're confident about their sexuality, it's like, oh my God, I could be that too. I'm talking countries in Africa. Nigeria, I've gone viral several times. Apparently, I'm famous in Nigeria. I was like, oh, for real?
Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever. I mean, Tanzania, and then like even African communities in like New Zealand. I had no fucking idea.
And I always find, and I think that's like so important. I mean, I knew people who were from different parts of Africa, like Nigeria, and I know female genital mutilation is like a big part, and their sexuality is a big part of like oppressing female sexuality, oppressing it, and saying no, you can't have sex. The men can do whatever they want,
right?
But women can't be free. We can't enjoy sex. There's something wrong with enjoying sex. So is that something that you kind of come across too? That women, okay, yeah, you can have lots of sex, but you just can't enjoy it. You can't.
Yeah, that's
can't like it.
That's a common
crazy
mindset that I think a lot of people have, even if they don't express it. It's really in how they're having their experiences. Like a lot of women say, "Oh, I never had an orgasm," and I know that comes from them having this internal mindset that they're not supposed to enjoy sex. That men are responsible for their orgasms instead of them being in control of it. And that's one thing that I work with often is shifting women's perspective of what pleasure is. Like, I'll have women write me all the time and they'll be like, I want to learn how to do X, Y, and Z for my man. And I'm like, okay, that's great. And are you doing this for yourself? Are you doing this because you want to? And it amazes me every single time when a woman writes back and is like, I never thought of it that way. And I'm like, sis, it's not just about him. It's about you first. Because you're being penetrated. As women, we're the ones being entered into. So, in sexual communication, we're responsible for 70% of the communication to get what we want out of it. So, if we are the ones being entered into, why would you think it's all about him? But see, that's how society has conditioned us to think. Because it's a society ran by, the male egoic mind. But women got to realize we have the power and we set the metronome in the relationships. Because if we say no, it's a no-go.
It's over.
And if you say no and they still proceed, it's a violation.
Exactly.
# me too, right?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So how do you think men, do you think there are some ways that men have been, not just that they've benefited, we've read all about the ways that men have benefited from, oppression of women's sexuality, but how has it hurt them, do you think?
I think it's hurt them in their pleasure as well, because I meet a lot of men who are like, the education is all about women's pleasure and women getting what they need and advocating for women's pleasure, and men are like, well, what about us? I mean, I feel like I'm losing my way and I'm focusing so much on her that I'm not even having a good time. And that there's a disconnect. And that's what happens when you're so focused on just like the male aspect of sex. Because you're not truly rooted in experience. It's like, I'm just trying to get to the end of this. I'm just trying to get what I want out of this. But there's no we.
It's not a collaboration.
Exactly.
It's not like I'm trying to get you off and get me off. We're both meeting at the crossroads.
Yeah, it's teamwork.
Yeah.
It is teamwork.
So how many different sexualities are there? I mean,
Man. So, okay. When you talk about
straight,
orientations, literally, people are coming up with new stuff every day. I'm not even kidding.
Pansexuality, there's this is more than just a straight gay bi.
What would you consider yourself to be?
I just like to say I'm fluid, and I don't necessarily consider myself to be like LGBTQ, because there's like a lot of nuanced stuff in there that I still don't.
More letters to that?
Yes, actually they added 2 more. I and A.
Intersex and asexual.
Yeah.
So Yeah, there's a lot going on there.
LGBTQIA now, and there may be even more.
Are we going to be getting to the AAs, BBs, CCs?
You know what? This is the thing. Like the new generation, they're creating so many labels for themselves, and I honestly can't keep up. Like I have to take classes from LGBTQIA specific educators in order to know, because I still don't completely understand at this point, and after this whole thing I will understand it more, what queer means. Because I've worked with so many queer people as far as in the industry. I know queer people, and I understand what it is as far as energetically, but the actual like hardcore definition of what queer means, I don't understand, because everybody is so different in how they express their queerness. And so with LGBTQIA, it's like so much to know, because literally everybody's creating their own little world within it, and people get so offended when you don't understand their part in that
So
whole
you
thing.
think it's kind of politicized. It's not.
At a certain point, does it get to be overkill, though?
For people who are vanilla, we would say that, and for them, they would be like, no, it's not, because this is their world. It's just like with BDSM. Mm-hmm. BDSM is a whole nother life in itself, and there's a lot of shit and definitions people don't understand, and they could say the very same thing. So like, I advocate for the LGBTQ community, and I'm all for it, and I'm saying as an educator, I want to know more, because I identify as cis-het. You know, and I do like women, but again, I don't classify myself as bisexual, and I don't really like labels, to be honest. I'm not a label person.
You know how long I tried to push that, let's not label anything? You know how long I tried to push that for? Until someone put down the hammer and said, you're not entering this.
But you know what it is? I feel like people want to feel included, and so when you create a label, it creates a community, and when you have that community, then you feel like you belong. Me, I just feel like I'm a nomad roaming from place to place, people to people, person to person, community to community. So I don't like labels. You want to know why I don't like labels either? Because as soon as you slap that label on yourself, people start policing what the fuck you do. And being like, oh, well, you say you're poly. Do you and your partner do da-da-da-da-da-da? Oh, you're bisexual. Do you subscribe to da-da-da? No, I don't. And I should not have to explain that just because I have a label. So I don't like labels for myself. Yeah. But I understand how labeling can be very useful for other people.
And for some people, they can find it empowering. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like when we talk about being poly, I noticed that a lot of people have a morphed expression of what poly is. Like some people think being poly means that you can just randomly see somebody walking down the street and just have sex with them. No. And then you can it's about communication, trust. Like, what do you feel?
Poly is a thing in itself where it's like there are rules. And there are ways that you interact in a poly relationship. If you're in a poly relationship, you have a primary, right? That primary partner who you probably live with, this is that go-to person. Anybody outside of your primary is a paramour. A person that is an extracurricular lover person. So, in poly, everyone has to know what's going on with everyone. So, it's like if you go out and you meet somebody and you come back home, you're like, hey, primary partner, I met so-and-so today and I want to date them. And then whatever you do is like, hey, primary partner, I'm going out with paramour whoever today and we're doing blah, blah, blah. So when you say communication in poly, the communication is so intricate where it's like some people have Google calendars where they like sync up their schedules with each other. Some people in poly, they live in triads where they live together, or like quads where everybody puts their money together and they take care of each other. But the communication part is like if you're doing anything with anybody else and you don't communicate that you know this person and that you're interacting in what you're doing, then that's a violation of your poly agreement.
Yeah, there's actually a group of people, I'll let you go in just a second. There's actually a group of people in New York, 2 men, 2 women, who are living together, and they're all 4 of them together are in a poly relationship, and they've decided to adopt a child. And I think, hey, you know what? You got 4 parents.
Yeah, heck yeah. Awesome. That is awesome.
I mean, you have 4 income requirements. You have people that can watch the child. Why not?
And you know what? In poly too, there's also nuances where you can be, I forgot the name solo poly. So, if you're a solo poly player, you don't have a primary partner. You're just dating a bunch of different people. And poly also is not with a heavy emphasis on sex. It's like just, I guess, loving relationships. But the whole swinging lifestyle, that's like heavy emphasis on sex play. So,
You know, what I'm getting from poly, because I'm glad that you explained it, because I really was trying to find, where that stood. Basically what poly is people that do things behind other people's back. Just eliminates
yes, it does.
the bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
It
It's
really
like,
does.
well, okay, well, I'm going to, we're dating. If you want to date other people, that's fine. You come home, you talk to me. If you're cool with it, fine. To me, it cuts out the middleman of bullshit.
It does.
But I think it also defines things a little bit more, because if you have a partner that's not cool with certain things, then you got to consider that.
Right,
You got to be willing to, I'm not going to say risk your relationship, but you have a better relationship, because if that person's not who you want to be with, or that person is not cool, y'all values don't kind of gel with each other, then So I think that's much better than like, some people were like, oh, poly, they just think that, I can just have like all kind of,
But then it's like, I can see with that how you can end up really falling for a person, because that honesty is there. Like, it's no facade. It's what it is.
And it's love with them, and then with the other people, it's just sex.
Right.
Well, it's love with everybody, to be honest.
Yeah. Because I'm loving you enough to tell you the truth.
Yeah, it's love with everyone, because everyone celebrates each other's freedom in poly. And what can also happen in poly is jealousy, because the primary partner, I'm not going to say they're special, but the primary partner does have certain like perks that the paramours don't. So the primary partner gets to live with you, and you're like exclusive. And so it's like your paramours, you don't have the same ideas about them as you do your primary. Like, you may want to have children with your primary, but your paramours, you're like, nah, that's not happening. Like, I know a guy who's poly, and he's going through that right now, where his primary is moving in with him, and one of his paramours now all of a sudden is like, I want to have a baby, because she's trying to one up the primary. So the pettiness still can go on.
And it's not for everyone.
Maybe this can cut down on the baby mama, baby daddy drama.
But it's like it's an option. It's not for everyone.
Exactly.
I don't think what you're saying is you're advocating for a certain life. You're just saying,
no, because polyamory is one way of living.
Exactly. Everyone has their own way of being. It's just you just have to figure out what works.
I always felt like everyone should be able to do whatever they want to do, provided it don't violate with someone else's rights.
Right.
Yes.
And you should let your freak flag fly.
Let your freak flag fly. Like, I tell people all the time, because like there are educators out there, there's educators who like bash monogamy into the ground. And I'm like, my partner and I, we're not poly, we're not in an open relationship, we're two loving beings that realize like we have multiple soulmates to heal with in this lifetime, and so we're open to do that. But people don't understand what that means. They're like, oh, so you guys got an open relationship, so you're just fucking whoever you want. It's like, actually, we can do what we want, and our emphasis is not on fucking whoever we want. It's literally on healing with other loving beings who we come into contact with. And we talk about monogamy, and we talk about it in a way where it's like, this is one choice. It's not your only choice. When people believe that monogamy is the only way, it's like you actually don't know human history. Because, truth be told, the majority of the world is polyandrous.
Meaning you have
Men
more than
with
one
multiple
man.
wives.
Or polygamy.
Yeah,
polyandry.
So polyandry, more than one husband, but most of the world is
Polygamous.
polygamous. Thank you. Yes.
But I kind of feel like that. I guess I have a. I don't know what's the problem. But
yeah, come on.
Polygamy is because I feel like it benefits the men, but polyandry, no one ever talks about the fact that women can have more than one dude.
Yeah.
It's like it's always the emphasis on the male pleasure.
Yeah.
On him having more than one female, on a woman pleasing him, and not really what about the woman? What about her having her pleasure? It's just.
And it's interesting that you say that, because like I think polyandry is so fascinating. Like they even had a show about polygamy, Big Love, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you can do that, but what about the women? They ain't gonna show that.
They can't
because
do that.
we live in a male-dominated society. Like this is just what it is. But interestingly enough, most of the world is polygamous. You want to know why though? Because most of the world's Muslim.
Exactly.
The Muslim religion is like the most practiced faith, and many of these people believe in having multiples. So, because like when I started doing research about like open relationships and like multiples and stuff, that was one of the facts that I found. I was like, wow. So monogamy is actually something that's newly practiced, and it's not the major coupling on this earth. And it's just one way of interacting with your partner. And I'm for monogamy. If you are a person that wants to be with one, go ahead and do that. And remember that you're human though.
Mm-hmm.
Your attraction is not going to cut off simply
No,
because you
it's
choose
Man.
to be with one person. You're human.
You're look.
You gonna look.
Yes.
You gonna have feelings. Your loins gonna be stirred. You may get a hard on. You may have a hard on in your clit. You may get wet. Whatever. That happens, and it's okay. And if it's in your relationship commitment that you're only going to be sexually monogamous with each other, then that's fine. And what I find is that people never even discuss that though. It's assumed that you want to be monogamous.
But what else is it, I think, really talked about is you talk about sexual monogamy. There's an emotional component too. People are sexually monogamous with each other, but then they're not emotionally monogamous.
But you can never be emotionally monogamous because you are meant to interact with as many people as possible. As human beings, we're supposed to connect with multiple people. You have an emotional relationship with your banker. You have an emotional relationship with your mailman, especially if you get live checks coming through the mail. Like, this nigga, we better show up right now. Exactly, because that's how I be with my live checks and stuff. You know, and so for people to say, I only want you to have feelings for me and no one else, that's unrealistic. And you're setting up your partner with unrealistic expectations. Because there is no possible way you can be exclusively monogamous in your emotions towards any person. Just one person. It's not.
I'm going to need you to run for president.
I will run for president in 20 whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
We're gonna turn this over to Mr.
So yeah, we'll close out this part of the episode with the rapid fire questions. So I'm just going to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
Just going to fire them off. Okay. All right. So if you are going to be on a deserted island for you don't know what amount of time, what are the 3 things you bring with you?
Damn. Okay. I'm going to bring A Course in Miracles. 1. I'm going to bring.
That's a book?
Yeah, it's a book.
Okay.
I'm going to bring a.
Read them.
Yes. I'm going to bring a device that can distill water to be drinkable.
Good choice.
And I am going. Oh God, this is so hard. I want to bring some type of music device that can be like charged by solar power.
You can listen to any song, any station, anything, or is there a particular?
You know, I want to have all my music options open to me because if I can have Migos and Kanye with me all the time and India Ari, I'll be straight. So like a solar powered music device or a solar powered battery pack and a music device so I can just listen to music and I'll be fine.
All right. And then as far as what would be your advice if someone who was in a relationship with someone that was monogamous wanted to go poly? What would be your advice to them?
My advice to any person that's in a monogamous relationship and they want to be poly is to bring in somebody to help talk about it. Because the very first thing a person's going to say is, oh, not enough for you. And guess what? I'm going to be honest. One person can never be enough for any person in this room. Because again, we're infinite beings. We can't just be with one person. And when it comes to love, we are loved by so many people in our lives. It's not just romantic love. So bring in somebody that can help negotiate and talk because all your partner's going to do is attack you when you bring the idea to them because they're not going to understand what it means to you. And I've had this question posed to me several times over the last 4 weeks.
Oh, wow.
There are a lot of people in that situation right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what does a sex therapist do?
So I'm not a sex therapist. And I will say that a sex therapist focuses on the mental and emotional aspects of sexuality, and they teach or rather recommend suggestions to their clients on how to get through those aspects mainly with just like talk-based therapy. Sex therapists do not get down on their hands and knees and show clients, how to get into positions though.
They don't.
Which
No, sex therapists don't do that.
she has showed.
I am a sex expert and a pleasure coach. So
She's a sexpert.
I'm a navigator. I help people navigate through the sex stuff.
So then a couple could book you and you would watch them do their thing?
If that is how they wanted their session to go, yes.
And you would teach them how to improve on it?
Yeah, if that's how they want their session to go. Most of my sessions are talk based though. And most of my sessions are also like interactive where I show people how to do certain things and it's through the computer. The hands-on stuff is more tantric. So
But you're getting certified.
yes. Yes.
Okay, and final question here. Favorite food and least favorite food?
Ooh, God, this is so fucking hard. I love food. Favorite food would probably be fish. I just love fish. And least favorite food, that's hard because I just love all food. I'll say pork.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have any specific dish. Just like pork is my least favorite. Fish is my favorite food. I really do love vegan food because it's like guilty free.
Right.
Right? Vegan food is like guilty free.
Oreos are vegan.
But let me tell you something though. People who are hardcore vegan, they will drag you for that because Oreos.
Yeah,
no,
you gotta
it's not
have milk, but you could use almond milk.
No, Oreos are completely vegan, but they use palm oil. And the way palm oil is sourced, they have to, they source it from palm trees. So they've been clearing out all these forests and planting palm trees to derive palm oil. And so they say that because it's not like sustainably sourced, that it's hurting the environment, blah, blah, blah. So hardcore vegans, they will drag you for eating Nutella and for eating fucking...
Nutella, but that's
and Oreos. I mean, Nutella has dairy in it too, but I'm saying like the palm oil part, they get really sensitive about that. Because I've been attacked on Twitter about Oreos.
I'll close this out with just telling you vegans, look, my ancestors did not work so hard to get to the top of the food chain for me to eat like I'm at the bottom of the food chain. All right? So that's all. Thank you.